in Western Oregon. This is NBC 16 News at 5:30.
After nearly a century of the Oregon and Oregon State rivalry being known as the Civil War, the two schools announced a change. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazer. Now, the decision comes after talks with university officials and input from current and former student athletes from both universities. NBC 16 sports director Brandon Cameraman spoke with two former Civil War competitors about the significance of the decision.
Thousands of student athletes have competed in the state's biggest rivalry. Over 120 football games, hundreds of basketball games, volleyball, and so much more. The Civil War personifies green and yellow versus orange and black, but it also represented something else.
For me, I mean, when I hear the Civil War, that's just kind of what I immediately go to. I think back to what that kind of war stood for in our history, and for me, it's kind of hard to disassociate the two.
And that led to today's decision. Both universities announcing they will no longer use the term Civil War to describe the rivalry.
I mean, we got to kind of realize where, like, the bigger picture here and what these things really stand for on a deeper level, even if it doesn't affect you.
It was never meant to actually reference the American Civil War, but like Marco Young said, it's hard, especially for black student athletes, to disassociate the two.
At first, yeah, it was just a name, but the context behind it has made it more than just a name.
And so the change, a process that was mostly student-led.
I think it's awesome. As long as they're doing it from an educated standpoint where they understand what they're talking about, they can back it up, go for it.
Obviously, right now, the social climate is the issues of the injustices going on in the black community, and it's encouraging to see student athletes at Oregon, across the country, just using their platform and speaking up.
It is just a game, it is just a name, but it is part of a movement. Brandon Cameraman reporting.
All right, thanks for that report, Brandon. Well, the schools say several former players will be a part of the renaming process, which will go into effect in the upcoming academic year. Let's turn to coronavirus numbers, where Oregon sees another big jump in cases. The Oregon Health Authority reports 250 new confirmed and presumptive cases. That's more than 7,800 cases across the state. Coronavirus has claimed 5 more lives, raising the state's death toll to 202. The bar graph on your screen now shows the total number of cases reported per day so far this week. This is the second highest record for Oregon. Today, we're seeing the biggest number of cases so far this week. Before then, numbers were in the high 100s. Most of the cases continue up north in Multnomah, Marion, and Clackamas counties. There are a total of 4,600 cases there. More than 3,000 are still active. Those are the total number of cases in our region on your screen now. In Lane County, there are a total of 124 cases, including 6 presumptive cases. Health officials reported 10 new cases. Health officials say some of these cases are from house parties associated with end of school year celebrations. Only 38 are active cases, 82 recovered, 1 is hospitalized, 3 people have died. Well, Lane County Public Health is conducting another round of coronavirus testing in rural communities. The next one is tomorrow at Mapleton Food Share. Free testing starts from 10 a.m. to 12:30 and is open to all community members. But keep in mind, priority is given to high-risk groups, first responders, people who are unable to maintain physical distancing at their work, and people who are symptomatic. A cluster of coronavirus cases of people in their 20s expanded today in Lane County, connected to house parties. University of Oregon officials are tightening up safety measures for students and staff this fall. NBC 16's Angelina Dixon reports.
This fall, students at the University of Oregon will see a handful of changes to support the prevention of COVID-19. And if you're a sports fan, changes are already underway in more ways than one.
As classes resume in the fall, university officials want to make sure students and staff remain healthy and safe.
We really need to work on getting the messaging out to our students and, quite frankly, to the population that is, in that age range between 16 to 20 something. that, that age range, we often feel like we're invincible, but this is something that, it does not matter.
It doesn't matter your age, ethnicity, gender, or anything else. Andre Leduc says COVID does not discriminate. He says classrooms and lecture halls with the usual capacity of 50 students or more will be cut down into segments, or they will be converted into remote learning. Leduc says as for right now, all students are expected back this coming fall, but that will later depend on the choices students make.
But we need to, again, then broadly look at a community strategy to message that, once you leave that campus, if you're not adhering to those guidelines, there's very little we can do. And so that's where we need to kind of change the social norm during the period of COVID to, really kind of speak to that audience specifically on the risks that they face.
He wants to make sure students are not only preventing COVID on campus, but that they're exercising social distancing while off campus as well. In Eugene, I'm Angelina Dixon reporting.
All right, thanks, Angelina. We'll have to see how that all plays out. Well, a new policy will be in place this fall on campus requiring everyone to wear a face covering when they enter any UO buildings.
This bill is a problem-solving effort. It is an effort to create trust, fairness, and transparency in government.
The Oregon Senate unanimously approved a major police reform bill. Senate Bill 1604 deals with law enforcement discipline. It would ensure disciplinary actions can't be reversed by an outside arbitrator. The bill was approved without changes. That's significant because the bill did face pushback yesterday from law enforcement groups. It's the only police reform bill that was not amended in any way. The bill has not yet cleared the House. Well, the mayor of Seattle is saying the city has no plans to try to get back into the East Precinct today after someone spotted a man with one gun drawn and another by his side at the CHOP. It started around 7 this morning when Seattle Department of Transportation crews brought in heavy equipment to remove a barrier. A protester put himself in the street to block the loader from moving in. After about 30 minutes, city crews retreated a few blocks away.
At this point, it's kind of a standoff.
I wouldn't call it a standoff. Again, we're in conversations right now, actually, with our organizers, again, so that people understand the goals to remove that barrier.
So you're not going to forcefully remove the barrier?
No.
The Seattle fire chief was also there. Protesters confronted him, blaming fire crews for not getting there soon enough to save a 19-year-old man who was shot at the CHOP last weekend. He says medics are dealing with violence in the area. Seattle police kept a low profile this morning, providing security for city crews. The next step is unclear, but the city does want those barriers down by the weekend. Well, Oregon's minimum wage rates are set to rise beginning next Wednesday, July 1st. The amount of the increase depends on where you live in the state. But as NBC 16's Tom Adams reports, some business owners are worried about this new increase and say the timing is not ideal.
What's the old saying? When life gives you lemons, make some lemonade.
It's a lot of lemons.
No amount of lemonade is going to lessen the business anxiety of Off the Waffle owner Omer Orion. The state minimum wage is set to rise next week, and Orion says it's going to deliver a hit.
It'll increase our labor costs for sure. Yeah, and our margins are really, really small, so we'll probably have to raise prices.
A 2016 law from the state legislature breaks up Oregon into 3 wage zones. For Lane and the surrounding counties, the state minimum is going to rise 75 cents to $12 an hour. Orion feels during the recession and in a pandemic, the timing of this boost is really bad.
I mean, we all want the same thing, but if you look at the strategy of it, the faster that we raise these wages, the more an advantage it gives to the people who have deeper pockets because they're able to wait it out.
Around the corner at Jazzy Ladies Cafe, owner Michelle Reed says people need to understand that this not only affects her payroll and prices.
So my suppliers are going to have increased wages, which means my cost of my goods are going to go up. Farmers are going to have increased wages, so produce is going to go up.
Both Reed and Orion say staff cuts are simply not in the cards. The wage increase will have to be passed on to the consumers.
And that means that right now consumers are going to have to be really gracious in understanding that when they see prices going up, that's what's happening.
Portland metro area wage earners will see their pay rise to $13.25 per hour. In the non-urban counties, the pay scale will hit $11.50 per hour. Reporting in Eugene, Tom Adams.
A rally was held in Northeast Portland as crowds gathered in frustration, saying the Oregon Employment Office just isn't doing enough. Since the pandemic began, people lost jobs or experienced a cut in hours. The Employment Office was delayed in processing claims and sending out payments and benefits. Now, according to the state's Employment Office, they've processed about 99% of all claims, receiving more than 505,000 claims since March. The department recently replaced its director with David Gerstenfeld, who assures workers their checks are on the way. Right, time now to take a first look at weather. Alan Matthews joins us now. Alan, it's hot out there.
It is hot out there, and this is going to be it for at least the rest of June. Keep in mind, it is the last Friday of June, and we're going to start out July with temperatures a bit closer to average for this time of the year. But we are enjoying another 90-degree day here in Eugene under mostly sunny skies. North winds at about 14 miles per hour, and humidity not too bad at 25% right now. Now, if you are an allergy sufferer, you know it's been a tough couple of days out there with the grass pollen. That is in the high level. Tree pollen is low, and I think we'll actually see a little bit of a decrease in the pollen for Sunday and Monday as we are looking at some rainfall to move into the area for the weekend. Not a lot to show you from the radar satellite over the last couple hours as skies are fairly clear. And if you are spending some time outdoors over the weekend, you're going to be looking at temperatures in the mid-70s tomorrow, but you are looking at the possibility of some scattered showers developing late Saturday night. Jacqueline?
All right, thank you, Alan. Well, after 125 years, a private college in Eugene is starting the renaming process. Northwest Christian University is now known as Bushnell University. Our Cassandra Gutierrez has the story behind the new namesake.
Well, if you're driving on East 11th Avenue in Eugene, you may notice something a little bit different. That's because Northwest Christian University is just 1 week away from officially changing their name to Bushnell University.
It's out with the old and in with the new for the private four-year university.
We decided it was time to make this change. Our university has been experiencing a lot of enrollment growth and physical growth over the last number of years, and through all of our analysis and our study, we felt it was time to have a name that more reflected our overall student body.
The university will now be named after James Bushnell. He was the first president of the Board of Regents. The school says he was also an abolitionist who fought for the rights of everyone.
His personality is a direct reflection of who we are as a university. I mean, he was a man who was gritty, a strong man of faith, an entrepreneur. And when we think about our Bushnell graduates and our alumni base, that describes them to a T.
From the new buses to the new signs, the university had to change everything.
All of the things you don't even think about, our new website, our new social media sites, our bus, new uniforms for all of our athletic teams, down to the items that the alumni right now are clamoring to purchase.
The change made possible through community donors.
The university tells me they will officially be done renaming the school on July 1st. They also tell me they expect to have students back in the classroom by their fall term in August. That's of course following all COVID-19 protocols. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Cassandra Gutierrez.
Thank you, Cassandra. Well, coming up on your only local news at 5:30, the pandemic has hit several businesses, especially restaurants, so much that one local restaurant is now changing the way they pay employees.